Welcome back to the Pod of Greed.
Welcome back indeed. So this week is an unexpectedly turbulent Yu-Gi-Oh news week, and that's why I've been looking forward to this episode.
It's been a turbulent Yu-Gi-Oh month as far as I can tell.
Yeah, it's been really pretty interesting, and you tuned in to the one and only podcast that covers anything because it's the only podcast on the internet.
That's true. At this point, we should just cover all the news since no one else is going to do it.
Yeah, it just seems like people just aren't taking up the mantle, and we're really the only people who are doing this. So
people don't even have these mics or a podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, real pioneers in the space. Anyways, hopefully you guys are having a great Thursday morning or whenever you're listening to this.
And before we get into the pod, I got one thing to ask for you guys. There's one thing.
What do you have to ask of them?
One's up in chat.
Okay, yeah, that's a nice thing to ask.
Premier gang, rise up.
I've got something to ask too. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. The reason I say that is because there are apparently people who listen to this podcast, even weekly, and aren't actually subscribed.
That's because the YouTube homepage does a really good job of showing you the videos you want to watch. But let's say, what happens if you miss a week? Then the homepage stops showing our videos. Then you might just start missing the pod.
Yeah, so please subscribe. We're almost at 100,000 over here on this channel. That would be pretty cool. Without further ado, though, it's time to get into some of the Yu-Gi-Oh news. The first big sort of top story, I guess, is the release of the first Yu-Gi-Oh! The Chronicles animated promo, whatever they're kind of calling these.
Yes, it's not the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Animation. It's even not the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Animation of the subject, but it is the first of the Chronicles series.
Yeah, so we got episode 1 of Sky Strikers. So, a lot to say about this. This came out on the official Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG channel. I'm assuming you watched it. I think we both have seen it now.
Now I have seen it.
Yeah, and so it came out on the official OCG channel. It is subbed in English. So
not dubbed.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear what Ray would sound like if she were here with you right now.
Yeah, and it is just kind of a neat little animation. It's about 4 minutes long, and people have a lot of thoughts on this. So where do we begin? What did you think of it when you saw it?
So first, I want to make this clear. I did this out of order. I think the natural order of things was you were supposed to watch the videos on Master Duel, and then you would see this, and that would give you one opinion. However, I don't play a lot of Master Duel. So little, in fact, I had actually only seen the very first Sky Striker video in Master Duel. So I saw that, then I saw this Chronicles video, and then I had to go back and then watch all of the Sky Striker videos on Master Duel, because I'm not gonna lie, when I first watched the promotional video, I was like, oh, that wasn't bad. I was impressed. Slightly disappointed because I expected these to be longer shorts, but when I realized they were only like 3 minutes and change,
yeah,
I was like, well, it's still a step up for Konami. Like, this is still better than they've ever done before, so I guess we should be happy. I mean, and then I watched the Master Duel videos.
Yeah, it's kind of strange, but I'll get into that in a second, because first I think it should be mentioned that Konami, when they first announced what these would be, they were like, okay, they're going to be short promotional anime. I think people heard that and probably got maybe their hopes up, a different idea or impression of what that meant. They maybe thought that we were getting like a 12 episode, like single core anime, right? Or they might have thought we were getting something akin to like a kind of Pokemon Generations or Pokemon Origins, or like, Paldean Winds.
I think it's supposed to be underestimated just how vague of a sentence that was.
I know, yeah.
Because we thought we knew what a short promotional anime was.
And what we got was this 4 minute long thing that is
technically still a short promotional
it is a short promotional anime. But still, I'm not going to, stop it there and just be like, this is what you get with Konami. Because
that's where I was at one point.
Because I think people's disappointment is justified here, mostly because I think that even if this was going to only be 4 minutes and they were going to get like one more episode of this, I think that they just could have done a lot more here. Like, it's strange. You mentioned how you saw the Sky Striker thing in Master Duel, and then also you saw this one, and so did I. What's weird is the Master Duel cutscenes, which are made by the same studio and they're kind of part of the same like line of like animation and stuff, show more than the official OCG episode 1 thing does. So that's kind of weird.
Now, I will still hold that I think the Chronicles promotional video looks better than the Master Duel ones.
I disagree. I think that the Master Duel.
I think it looks better. That's
Okay,
just
actually,
my
we
opinion.
we need to probably restart this whole thing. What's even being shown? Because we haven't really, because we're sitting here like saying like I think this, I think that. What it actually shows is it is Rey, and she is fighting against Sky Striker Zeke, and she's trying to rescue Rose. And that's basically the story that is happening.
Right.
In the Master Duel version, you see more of that unfold. You see her first fight with Rose, like just with their swords. Then you later see her fight Zeke, and she's kind of in a city, and she uses more cards like Widow Anchor and I think Shark Cannon.
She does actively transform.
She transforms between the different forms like Hayate and Kagari, and I think you see Suzuku and stuff like that. And so there's a lot more that goes on. In the OCG one, it is basically Rey shows up, transforms, fights Zeke in a desert as opposed to a city, so it's a little bit of a different environment, and she just uses afterburners to kind of eventually defeat him.
She's only in the Kagari form. She doesn't actually do any other ones.
Yeah, and then she rescues Rose. And so that's kind of it. It's either way you spin it, there's not a lot of like explanation going on here. Like you're not getting...
You don't know why any of this is happening.
Yeah, you're not getting much context. Voice acting is kept to a kind of a minimum. I mean, it's a few sentences max.
Yeah, and it's not a lot.
Yeah, it's just not a lot. And it's in medias res. So like literally you're seeing what seems to effectively be like the sort of end of the climax of at least the main part of this story. And that's weird because it's episode 1, which makes you wonder what is episode 2?
Yeah, I don't know. And let's not forget the fact that, well, technically the Master Duel videos also covered this battle.
Story, yeah, and battle. So,
but we're covering it again in episode 1?
Yeah, it's weird because like I don't know. I guess are you intended to watch Master Duel first and then watch this? I guess that's like the order that you're supposed to consume these.
I mean, maybe they felt like people needed to see this fight a different way because the fight does transpire in a different way. I just don't. Because she still ends up defeating Zeke and rescuing Rose.
You're left
in
to
both
wonder,
of them,
right?
it's like, oh, well, there really isn't. There wasn't
the point
a
of these
big
two different
difference.
things. Also, let's zoom out even a little bit more. I'm still not actually sure who these animations are for. Like, what is their intended purpose for being released? Because, you know, is this meant to be like, okay, if you're an existing Yu-Gi-Oh player, you see it and you're kind of like, cool, I recognize that monster, and like she used afterburners. She said engage. That was Widow Anchor, you know. So cool. Like it's just sort of rewarding you for knowing about Sky Strikers. Or is it meant to be something that you see as an outsider and then get interested in playing Yu-Gi-Oh because you saw it? I think if that's the case, I don't think it's doing a great job because it is not.
I mean, I think for some people, it can still get them interested in Yu-Gi-Oh. It is still cute girl, robots, lasers.
Yeah, on a base level, Sky Striker is appealing in that way. I just think that, like, if you were going to do that, you would still want to say what her name is.
Oh my God, she never did.
Yeah, she doesn't, like, say her name. Like, you don't know, like, I mean, we're talking literally, in this 4-minute video, a girl, who, you know, you might think is like a cute anime girl or whatever, but a girl kind of transforms into a mech suit, fights a robot that goes unnamed, and rescues a girl who you at least know their name is Rose because
that is
Rose,
so
she says that.
Weird.
So there's no character being built. There's no world being established. It to me looked like a generic gacha game ad. Like honestly, like
Hoyoverse does a way better job.
That's the thing. It's funny. That's what so originally when I saw it, that's what I thought. But then I remembered you showed me a bunch of like trailers from, you know, Zenless Zone Zero and like some of the other Hoyoverse games, and they honestly like run miles around this. Like,
I mean, they're typically fully voice acted with music, and they do try and tell a story with a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, they characterize
like,
the.
You're gonna know who
better.
You're watching in those. It's very strange because I didn't even notice that Rey doesn't introduce herself, but of course she doesn't. It will be really weird for her to introduce herself to the robots that she works with every day.
And that's the thing is I think people really wanted to get like a look into the world of Sky Strikers and that story, and like, you know, that's just not what you're getting here.
And it's strange, right? Since Sky Striker literally has a manga series that explains and extrapolates, and they use none of that.
So people's reception has been understandably not very good. It's different though, because unlike how typically you might hear people kind of be like, this is typical Konami trash, you know, they're killing the game, they're whatever, they don't care about Yu-Gi-Oh. I kind of get the impression more so that people are just let down here. Like, they expected more and they're just disappointed. They liked what they saw because, like, you know, it looks pretty cool.
It's not bad animation.
It's just that, like, you know, where is the story here? Like, I know that it gets back to that whole, well, Konami didn't technically promise you any of that. They promised short promotional animation. And this is short promotional animation. But I do think it's a missed opportunity, and given what their contemporaries like Pokemon have done for really like almost a decade now with those like sort of mini series and stuff that they make, it just feels like missed potential.
I mean, maybe we would have felt different if they didn't recover the battle with Zeke again. Maybe if this was just a different part of the story, which I don't know anything about, maybe we'd feel a little bit better if we at least felt like we saw something we hadn't already seen animated.
What's interesting too is that in Master Duel, when people first saw those animations in Master Duel, they thought these were like basically like sneak previews, like early snippets that basically Master Duel was getting first. So you're kind of rewarded for playing Master Duel by getting to see, you know, some little snippets of animation early on. But as it turns out, Master Duel actually has a higher net runtime of animation across its like 4 or 5 cutscenes than this is. And I saw on Twitter that some of the animators who worked on this, like the Japanese animators who worked on this, said that this is supposed to be, I guess, just sort of an alternate ending. Like there's an alternate take on how that conflict might have ended. And that's it. Like that's, you know, I mean, I don't know that Konami's going to really come out and give you any more than that. So,
but what are they going to do in episode 2?
Who knows? Maybe an alternate beginning as episode 2.
Oh, that's confusing. We don't even know the beginning. Like, it's weird because since I haven't read the Sky Striker manga past the very first chapter, I never got around to it. I'll do it eventually. I don't really know the Sky Striker story. It was weird then that the promotional video just tells you about as much as you could get from looking at the card artworks. And it does not go the extra mile in the slightest with telling the story. I can look at Sky Striker cards and tell you what that video showed. And that's it.
Yeah. It just truly, I think it was kind of disappointing, kind of confusing.
Just a missed opportunity.
The way that it is released. And we're going to be getting episode 2 next month. But I do think that people are already probably a little bit deflated because if this is anything like what episode 2 is going to be like, then...
I mean... At least going forward, they have to show us something new, right? Like
presumably,
they've now shown us a Zeke fight for a second time. They can't do that again. I hope.
It also makes me worry for the next one, which is the Albaz or like the White story, kind of Albaz and Ecclesias thing, because that's going to be 3 episodes long, and it seems like their main focus for these series is like they kind of just show. It's kind of a boss rush of. Card you recognize, card you recognize, card you recognize.
Like in a big conflict.
And kind of in the middle of a conflict. So I'm thinking that maybe with Albaz, the first episode will largely be centered around the events of Nadir's servant. That's kind of what started it. Although based on maybe the Sky Striker thing, it was kind of showing the end, so who knows.
Yeah, in this case, maybe it'll start with
it starts with like the Battle of
Golganda.
But like, yeah, I'm thinking it'll just be like Nadir's servant is episode 1. Episode 2 is something in the middle, and episode 3 is, I guess, the fight of Golganda and like kind of getting some,
which could still be cool since at least those have never been animated, so we really don't know what to expect as far as how it'll look. Downside though, the Albaz story has so many archetypes and characters.
Yeah, it feels sad because knowing that it's only going to be 3 episodes and knowing that these episodes are going to roughly be the same length this is, you know that they can't cover.
It's like,
we're probably just going to get stuff like Tri Brigade and like Spriggans and Sprite and stuff like in montages. Like probably just quick.
They can't even get any time on screen. Not if it's going to be a 4-minute video.
It's worrying. But I'd like to know what people think about it. I mean, like, the reception has not been great.
Could be worse.
But it could be worse. Like,
the animation could have actually just been bad.
You know what I actually, like, think would have been the best way to do these whole Chronicled Sagas things?
What's that?
Just don't hype them up. Just shadow drop them. Like, more or less make it be just a video. Maybe not shadow drop, but like make it be a video that kind of just comes out of nowhere and it just gets to be like a treat. Because I think when you build expectations,
and they did build
expectations, because a lot of people thought that this was going to be like the next Yu-Gi-Oh anime, which I never thought that. I never thought that, but there are people who thought that. There are people who are like, okay, this is going to be like
poor people,
the equivalent of like, you know, a Yu-Gi-Oh Vrains in Arc 5. Like, it's going to be like this running thing.
And someone gets a clip of our pod where we said that we were expecting this to be an anime.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I think if you go back enough episodes, you'll see one of us, I believe it was me, I said like, I don't think we're getting more than like 5 minutes of animation.
Oh, we're throwing me under the bus. Okay.
No, one of us said it, but like I think we were both on the same track, right? Like, it's just like, I don't think that these are going to be like super long.
I still thought 10 minutes. I don't know where I got that number from, but I really thought they'd be 10-minute shorts.
Yeah, the Pokemon stuff really, it sets your expectations at a certain place, and then this just is not meeting that place.
But I mean, I'm still gonna check out the second episode.
Oh, for sure.
Just because it's guaranteed to be something new. I thought this was guaranteed to be new, but
turns out it's actually a second Zeke fight.
Yeah, it's new. Sorry,
a third. Sense. It's a third Zeke fight.
It's Final Fantasy like rebirth. You know, it's just like they did it again. It's a reboot.
Well, here's a little bit more interesting Yu-Gi-Oh information. We've gotten a few more reveals of Duelist Advance cards, and also some more stuff from Alliance Insight, the set that is releasing this weekend, or at least getting a sneak peek right? This weekend. Yeah, excited about Alliance Insight?
Now, Paul, you know damn well I am extremely excited for Alliance Insight. We're finally getting the last cards for the Dia Bellstar lore story, and so we'll get to play that final deck with the Saint Azamina, with Dia Bellstar and LZ's biggest forms. We're also going to get the Dark Munition Girl for Shining Sarcophagus. I can't wait for that either.
Yeah, then the Red Eyes for Metal Morph. The Red Eyes guy.
Now they'll have 2 Red Eyes in the Metal Morph deck. Sure, why not?
So it's definitely more Joey coded than Keith coded.
He did play against Keith, so I guess that.
I mean, he's got the Metal Zoa, so that was a Keith thing.
Yeah, I don't really understand what they're doing with that archetype, but I'm still with the idea of turning like iconic Yu-Gi-Oh duels into archetypes.
Yeah, in addition to that, on the meta side of things, I know that Malice and Ryziel each get new cards, like a new card or 2 in this set.
Allegedly, it patches up their hits on the ban list.
Yeah, especially for Malice, it definitely powers them up a lot. The Ryziel one people don't seem as enthralled with, but yeah, just a lot of cool stuff kind of coming out. We are planning on attending a sneak peek this weekend.
I might be going to 2.
Yeah, hopefully. So that'll be cool. Maybe we can get some of the cards. I wouldn't say that I personally am looking for anything, but I think I might try to build the Regenesis deck.
I think you should buy half a case.
Okay. I'll buy it. If we can get this podcast episode to 1,000 likes, I will buy a case.
All right, guys. 1,000 likes. You heard it from the man himself.
The thing is, though, it's got to be before like this weekend.
That's right. 1,000 likes in Thursday?
Yeah.
So
you have 2 days.
You have 2 days.
You have 2 days to get 1,000 likes.
Paul buys a case. He's going to open it on camera.
I will hold you guys to that. If that actually happens, I will do it. But that's no.
I guess that'd be so long. We have to live stream it or something.
Yeah. Cool. So I don't really. There's a lot of individual cards, I guess, that we can be talked about, but we don't really tend to focus on those very much in this podcast. It's just neat that these things are happening. So the next thing, though, is that they announced Justice Hunters officially.
It wasn't announced yet?
Yeah, it technically wasn't. Oh. We just knew, they'd have Yummy and K9 and Dragon
I feel like
Tail.
we've known about them for so long.
Yeah, but they are officially, the TCG product has officially been announced, and there are some blurbs. So, Justice Hunters brings you 3 brand new themes ready to shake up the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game, each focusing on a different type of extra deck monster.
Yep.
So Dragon Tales combine dragons and spellcasters for a new fusion-based deck theme. Besides powerful new fusion monsters and fusion spells, Dragon Tail monsters have extra abilities to empower your fusion monsters. Whenever you use a Dragon Tail monster as fusion material, you get a free Dragon Tail spell or trap from your deck. And some even do more than that. So, yeah, Dragon Tales, awesome.
Fair.
K9, Who Let the Dogs Out? Meet the
Boo.
Canine Team, the crime fighters of the future, ready to send your opponent's monsters straight to the pound. K9 is a rapid deployment Xyz-focused deck that lets you pop out quick level 5 monsters and Xyz summon, even during your opponent's turn. If you have an old favorite rank 5 Xyz, get ready to bring it back to active duty, since K9 effects work well with any rank 5 Xyz monster.
Adreus?
Tyrus. Volcasaurus. And then finally, for Yummy, the blurb is just, yummy. And they show you some pictures of them.
Really? That's the whole thing?
And that's their blurb.
Wow.
Yeah, Justice Hunters contain 60 cards, 10 ultra rares, 10 super rares, 40 rares. They're also available as super rare upgrades for some of them. 15 cards available as collector's rares. And additional cards will be available as not QCR, but Starlight rares. Because Starlight rares
They're
are
back,
replacing
baby.
QCRs. Anyway, this releases on August 1st, which is a bit of a surprise because some people thought that they were going to release Justice Hunters a little earlier in the summer so that those decks could sort of be around for Yu-Gi-Oh! Nationals.
They said no.
But yeah, it seems like this will all be stuff that is going to be played after Nationals, and yeah, so.
I guess that's really lame for the... is that in time for Worlds still?
I think so. I think, yeah, because Worlds is in like end of August or early September.
I would
something
hope
like that.
it's legal for Worlds, because that would mean there'd be OCG players who've been playing the deck for like almost a year.
Well, that's how it tends to kind of be with Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds. Like, it's not always balanced, like what's allowed and what isn't allowed. But I think that this will be legal for Worlds if I have my dates right.
That Worlds ban list, such a mystery to me.
Yeah, I'm always curious, like, what are some ways that they can maybe change up the whole Worlds thing? Because, like, the Worlds ban list, just all it really does to me is just remind me that, like, this game needs to go ahead and just converge Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, TCG versus OCG thing.
I mean, since every other, like, at least all the Bandai card games want to do it now.
Yeah, I mean, every game kind of seems like they just want to be consistent. And I think that they should. Like, it would make this Worlds debacle... I call it a debacle. That's kind of a dramatic term. But, like...
No, it should be dramatic, Paul. Remember when I got DQ'd?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I think you've told that story maybe on the pod, but if not...
I'm pretty sure. But I guess I'll quickly summarize it. When we were at the 2019 Worlds in Berlin, there was this kind of content creator tournament using the Worlds ban list. It was cool because they had content creators essentially from all over the world. And even though we didn't all speak the same languages, because I think my opponent was Japanese, or was he? I think it was Japanese.
I think so.
We didn't speak the same language, but, well, we could speak through the cards. And we just had a translator there in case there was discrepancy. Which there was, because I was playing my Thunder Dragon deck, I believe, and I made Beat Cop from the Underworld. And I thought that was perfectly fine. It's a good card for the deck. My opponent looks confused, looks at the translator, looks back at me, and then he waves for the translator to come by. They talk, and the translator lets me know that my Beat Cop was not legal in the Worlds format.
Yeah.
And it was annoying because as far as I knew, it was legal since the card had been released in the OCG and the TCG, but there was an asterisk. Mm-hmm. It hadn't been released in all OCG territories, so it was technically not legal.
Yeah, and I always just think that whole, like, Worlds having its own little unique ban list just seems kind of tedious. Like, that's something they could easily change, but maybe they're working on that. Who knows? Anywho.
It would be cool. I think that would change a lot, honestly.
A couple more little small product announcements before we get into our big story of Yu-Gi-Oh! This week. Have you seen the Blue Eyes shampoo?
Have I? No, I don't
This
think
is
so.
an OCG product.
Oh, like the tonic stuff?
Yeah, the Tonic Shampoo X Yu-Gi-Oh! And also there's a Blue Eyes White Dragon sauna hat. So if you ever go to a sauna, which you might likely do maybe more in Japan than here.
Honestly, I don't know if I've ever been to a sauna.
You can, I guess, sort of like use the Blue Eyes hat and also use your Tonic Shampoo.
What if, like, you use the shampoo and no matter what your grain or type of hair, it just comes out looking like Kaiba?
That'd be funny. There is a picture of Kaiba and Blue Eyes on it, as well as I think what appears to be there's this exclusive like Blue Eyes promo card that you maybe either get with the tonic or like maybe you have a chance at it.
Blue Eyes fan that I know, you're definitely gonna pick that up then.
It's one of my least favorite Blue Eyes arts, but I think that they changed the background so that it has like the shampoo effect or something behind it. Like I can't really tell from
That's
the art.
terrifying. Wait, let me see that. There's no way they did what I think they did.
Well, like because there's something because like you notice how the shampoo has this electricity, like cool burst.
Oh,
I think it's like the same thing.
I was worried when you said the shampoo effect. I thought there'd be like white, like liquid just shooting out.
Oh, that might not be great. Yeah, let's. Oh goodness, that'd be funny. So yeah, Blue Eyes White Dragon X Kaiba shampoo thing. I'm going to try to import this actually.
You should use it on camera.
Yeah, I will. Like I have seen
Watch his hair fall out.
I've seen people talking about this, and I was like, I'm going to try to see like if there's a way for me to import it. Another cool Yu-Gi-Oh thing is that SH Figure Arts, who we've sort of collaborated with in the past,
Paul has a lot of those.
just released or revealed their new Yami Yugi OCG figure.
Wait.
Here's a few pictures.
Oh wait, that looks cool.
Yeah. So you like it's
Is that Mirror Force?
Yeah. So he has a bunch of different hands and like face expressions that you can use. You can take his jacket on and off. You can use the dual disc, and he can be firing Mirror Force at the opponent.
See, that's cool. Which, okay, you don't fire Mirror Force at your opponent. It's a trap card, Paul.
Yeah, I guess your
they
opponent's
launch an
firing
attack
at you
and you
you're-
launch the Mirror Force, and it hits it back at them.
That's true. You're reflecting it back. So
Right, see, that's how I know you don't really play Yu-Gi-Oh.
that's true. I'm not a really good player. Yeah. So I thought that was just kind of cool. A few neat little Yu-Gi-Oh things. Speaking though of Yu-Gi-Oh merchandising that maybe can't be done anymore.
Ooh.
We got to talk about this Elemental Hero Air Neos.
And I know, guys,
Stuff.
to you, this is old news, but this is our first pod since that story broke.
Yeah. This is the only podcast that's going to cover it because it's the only podcast on the internet.
Yep, this is the first time anyone's going to talk at length about this.
So basically what happened this past weekend sort of, is Elemental Hero Air Neos, for some background, is just one of those Neos fusion cards from the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX era that suspiciously has not been reprinted ever since the actual release of Strike of Neos in 2007.
In fact, it's seemingly been removed from just about every form of marketing it was ever featured in.
Yeah, they will not show the card even in like new retrains or arts or whatever, like in Instant Contact. You don't get to see Air Neos in that art, even though it's based off a TV frame. It does not appear in any Yu-Gi-Oh! Or in many Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games. So yeah, it kind of just seemed like Air Neos just disappeared. And up to now, there's been a lot of controversy about, what caused this. Why do they suddenly just kind of disavow Air Neos and just not mention it, say anything about it, include it anywhere, reprint it? Some people thought, it was because of like that one airline, Neos Air, and they were like, it's a lawsuit with that.
I've never flown Neos Air.
But either way, now we have a bit of an answer. So what happened is somebody found the court documents for the, litigation between Konami and what we now know to be Beyond Comics and their character, Rave Dactyl.
Rave Dactyl.
Yeah. So basically, these were court documents that were technically always available, but I guess you had to know to find them, know how to
know
look
how
for
to
them.
find them.
But yeah, so people discovered that lawsuit, and basically what they know now is that in 2008 there was a lawsuit that got filed by the creator of the indie comic character Rave Dactyl, and they asserted that someone among the different Yu-Gi-Oh companies, Studio Dice, Konami, Neon Ad Systems, 4Kids, whatever, they alleged that Elemental Hero Air Neos was based on their intellectual property, and that's kind of what ended up happening. Mm-hmm. Now, I think what happened after that, though, was that they settled this out of court. Like, I think there was like a settlement from Konami, something like that. And now we know where that all came from. Now,
Rave Dactyl, we've both seen it.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that Air Neos is an infringing copy of its design?
So I'm pulling up a picture of Rave Dactyl now just to get another.
I'll pull one up too, so we can just both look at Rave Dactyl
just to see. But I legitimately think that the silhouette of Rave Dactyl and Air Neos could be confused from a distance. I know that if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh fan, obviously you see this as more of a like free Air Neos. They don't even look that much alike.
Free to homie.
That's a petty thing. But I don't know. Like when I look at it here,
Yeah, I'm looking at the same picture.
I think like I can see how someone would be like, yeah, this is kind of similar.
I feel like the damning part is that even the coloration is similar. There's more red on Air Neos, but Rave Dactyl isn't really slacking in red, and it's got the blue. Like, yeah, I could see someone making the argument.
Yeah, so I think Konami answered the complaint and basically said that Kazuki Takahashi did not design Air Neos, but rather it was Hatsuki Tsuji, who I think was a lead designer just on the Yu-Gi-Oh GX like show / manga maybe. So yeah, it's been discovered now. People have a lot of opinions. The thing is, Beyond Comics they have like a Twitter account. Yep. And when this dropped, people went straight to say that, voice their opinions.
Now, I want to be so. When I first learned of this, I too was on the Beyond Comics hate train, and then I looked at their work, and you know what? Beyond Comics is cool with me. They Beyond Comics has worked with people and made things, and I'm like, you know what? They were just trying to make it. I mean,
yeah, I know that there's been so much. It's hard to wade through kind of the rapid fire opinions that you will hear, such as, they were just trying to get a quick payday. They don't look that much alike. You took Air Neos from us. You're the ones who told Konami they could never reprint the card. It seems from what I've read that the decision to no longer reprint or acknowledge Air Neos was one that Konami made, not one that Beyond Comics, or the guy's name specifically is like Greg. I need to find his actual name. It's like Greg something. But yeah, like it seems to me as though Konami just decided after this whole lawsuit thing and settlement or whatever, that they were just like, yeah, no more. Like we're just not gonna have anything to do with Air Neos. Like in order to, I'm sure there were NDAs signed to not talk about any of this, but this stuff got leaked on Zodiac Duelist. Someone eventually found this stuff.
Once it's on Zodiac, that's a wrap.
Yeah. Now, what seems a little bit strange to me is that Ruxin and I think MBT did videos where they talked to the guy, and I found that a little strange because I figured he just wouldn't want to really talk about it. But yeah, he alleges that no, like he did not make Konami stop doing Air Neo stuff, and he even said he wanted to collaborate with them or be open to collaborating with them in the future. I'm not sure what to take from that.
I mean, it sounds kind of like regular Japanese business practice. You got sued. It wasn't a great look. Bury it. Don't just remove it so you never have to acknowledge it again. Is it extreme?
Greg
sure.
Weish.
But Konami also might have been afraid that maybe there could have been future repercussions to keep using the character. And like,
sorry, go ahead.
It's like, because Konami they don't know where they weren't used to like American copyright law. They in Japan, they're a little bit different with how they get inspired by things, and typically you can create a character that looks almost identical to another, and it's perfectly fine. But in Western business, you can't even slightly resemble another character.
I'll say this. I mean, I think that like when you're a small indie comics developer,
I don't think Konami's that small.
You're probably. It's probably in your best interest to, try to file lawsuits when people might be infringing on your character design, because otherwise you might just lose the rights to your character, and then you kind of can end up in those situations where it's like, oh, you copied Air Neos, even though your character like came out first or whatever.
I mean, and there are certainly cases of that in American history.
Yeah.
People have just lost the rights to things they created. And the fact of the matter is they did create Rave Dactyl. Rave Dactyl did exist before we got Air Neos, and at least for a few lawyers and even for Konami themselves, the argument was sound, at least sound enough to settle.
Yeah, something kind of interesting too is this reminds me vaguely of like the way that this is not entirely related, but just sort of a tangential thing. I'm reminded of how like lawsuits or like litigation culture sort of feels in the West when it's viewed from the perspective of like the public. Is like the age old one is the woman at McDonald's who got burned by the coffee. You remember this?
Yeah.
Like, what do you know about this lawsuit?
That a woman ordered a hot coffee from McDonald's, and when she spilled it on herself, it burned. And so she believed that the employees at McDonald's served her a coffee that was way too hot to serve to a customer, at least legally. And so she filed a lawsuit.
Yeah. And that's all true. And the thing is, though, the reception of that lawsuit is that she was just hoping to get some free money for being just negligent. You know, she dropped that coffee on herself, and she's making, you know, a bunch of drama out of it. Apparently, it was very difficult for her to even like get through that lawsuit, and she lost like bodily functions from the heat and like all of that. And it turned out that they were serving it at a temperature that was hotter than like, you know, the official regulations and all that stuff. But once the public, you know, it's just one of those things where the first thing that you hear about a case is kind of, that's where your opinion.
Well, that was my knee jerk too when I first heard about the case. It's like, what? She didn't know coffee's hot? How's that McDonald's fault?
Yeah, it's like, duh.
But then when I forget when and why I looked further into the case, I found out just how much damage that coffee did to her. It's like, wait a minute. A regular coffee should not be able to scar you that bad.
Yeah. And so basically, like, you know, it's kind of one of those things with the Air Neo stuff where if you're working on a small thing, like we all love Yu-Gi-Oh! We all love GX. We all love Neos. We want it to be reprinted and all these things. And it's easy to see, I think, beyond comics as
I don't think you love Neos.
I don't even like Heroes. But, you know, it's easy to see them as like they're the bad guys taking away our good thing from us, and they're trying to like get some free money. But, you know, the truth is, if you're developing anything, if someone steals that idea and they go on to, you know, use it and become rich and market things, you would have been in your, like, anybody in that position, I would encourage them to try to litigate, I would think. I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world, and, like, right now we're already having this whole conversation with, like, AI, right? Where, like, you're an artist and you like to make fan art or you like to make whatever, and like these AI companies don't give two shits. Like they're going to take all these pictures and just dump them into training data, and now it's like, here you can make something in so-and-so style. So, you know, that's kind of that's sort of the situation as I see it. I mean,
and let's not forget, you know, Rave Dactyl was played by Donald Faison.
Oh, and like they're like live action.
Yeah, and they're like movie, like Donald Faison's in it, and so is the rapper Coolio. Like, what?
Sounds like they had fun. I was looking at their social media, and it's not like Beyond Comics is not like a huge operation. It looks like
they even have Coco, Ice-T's wife. They just had a cast. They just had people.
They're having fun. So yeah, I mean, as far as what will happen from here, what do you think? I mean,
absolutely nothing.
I think nothing. I think Konami's still like, because I think people see this and like now that it's all come to light, there's kind of this idea that, well, maybe now they can work something out, or, you know, or like Konami will make a statement. Konami ain't saying shit.
They didn't say anything before. They're not going to say anything now.
Yeah, I mean, they've signed NDAs. I'm sure they've signed NDAs, and they're just like, we're just not going to talk about this. So I don't think they were
creator
suddenly.
Didn't.
Yeah, it sounds like he didn't, or he did. He doesn't care much, but you know, I don't think Konami says or does anything differently. I don't think that we will ever get an Air Neos like reprint or whatever.
This isn't like Kadabra and Pokemon. Like in that case, like Pokemon literally could not use Kadabra on like the trading cards, and they were not allowed to. It seems Konami actually still had the ability to use Air Neos and was like, nah.
Well, my guess is that they probably could have used it and had to pay him royalties, and they just didn't even want to bother with it.
I mean, why make somebody else rich?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Konami, maybe because I guess those royalties might extend so far too, like because it'd probably be all GX merchandise, the GX show and like episodes, all Strike of Neos like sales, any reprints that they do of it in the future,
anything that Air Neos touches.
Yeah, and then royalties of games like
Beyond Comic Gold,
Legacy of or like Link Evolution, like Legacy of the Duelist and Master Duel. Like, as if it's in any of those, then he'd probably get royalties
some
and
type of a percentage, and even a small percentage at that scale would that could be millions.
So, you know, it's interesting. It'd be interesting if Konami just like bought all the rights back or something. That I think that's what people want. I don't know that they would ever really. They probably just don't want to touch this situation anymore. But
I mean, I wonder. I mean, I guess neither Konami nor the creator will actually get into those types of details, but it would be interesting to hear.
Yeah, I've been following the story just kind of on the periphery, and that's my limited understanding of it. I'm not going to pretend.
And our non-legal expertise.
Yeah, like I don't know anything about this stuff. When I just zoom out as just like what I've seen as a Yu-Gi-Oh kind of content creator, player, whatever, this doesn't mean very much. Like, it's kind of a story that's been talked about for the past like week or so, and now it's kind of already begun to settle down, and some videos were made of it. People kind of have you can form your opinion on whether or not Rave Dactyl and Air Neos look, you know, similar enough or whatever, but what we think hardly matters. It's Konami ain't gonna reprint this thing.
Though, I wonder if we can get Donald Faison to cosplay as Air Neos. He was Rave Dactyl. I mean, it's not that different.
Maybe he should go to a Comic-Con or something and just, you know?
All right, I'm going to start drafting my email now.
The whole thing. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought that was cool, but that's the big Yu-Gi-Oh story. And other than that, I think that's actually all of the Yu-Gi-Oh news for the week.
That covers everything I know about. Yeah, that's it for me.
Cool. So, any other card game news? I've got a couple of things.
This one isn't. It's while it's news, it's not something I can talk too much at length about, but I'll bring it anyway.
Okay.
So, Wizards of the Coast announces changes to their Commander format.
Oh, okay.
So, Paul, you remember what was that? 2 months ago.
A few months back,
they announced the what did they call that system?
The Commander like power level system.
Yeah, the Commander like power levels, and they gave us like the game changer list of cards that were limited in certain levels of play.
Right.
Well, they've actually made changes to that list, and some quite drastically, I might add.
Okay, let's hear about them. I say as though I play Magic the Gathering and know what any of these cards are.
We'll say what the cards are, and then you guys in the comments will tell us what it means.
We'll say what they are, and you guys will know.
So, the following cards were unbanned: Gifts Ungiven, Sway of the Stars, Braids, Cabal Minion, Coalition Victory, and Panoptic Mirror. All cards I have never played in my entire life, and I do not know what they do. Right. But then they also added a bunch of cards, and some of these cards I'm actually familiar with this time.
Keep going. I'm just adjusting a thing on the camera.
Okay. It was Teferi's Protection, Humility, Narset, Parter of Veils, Intuition, Consecrated Sphinx, Necropotence, Orcish Bowmasters, Notion Thief, Deflecting Swat, Gamble, Worldly Tutor, Crop Rotation, Seedborn Muse, Natural Order, Food Chain, Aura Shards, Field of the Dead, and Mishra's Workshop. So all these cards were added to the Game Changer list, which means whether or not you run these cards in your Commander deck will determine if you're a tryhard or not.
Okay. So I guess the main takeaway I have here then, because I don't know about the individual cards, I apologize. I don't play Magic that much.
The only one I know is Orcish Bowmasters.
I have heard that name a lot.
That's because I keep saying it.
Yeah.
That's the only one
I've heard that people talk about that name. It sounds like they are doing what they set out to do originally. There's our main camera. It overheated, so we're just stuck with the face cams now, guys.
It's been warm, yo. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out something with that. Anyway, this really goes to show this is not a very professional production.
We should put an ice pack on it.
Yeah, we should, and it melts and just ruins the whole thing. Yeah, we are a 2-person production. So anyway,
3 if you count the ghost.
So yeah, at least they are doing what they set out to do, which is they are listening to feedback and adjusting kind of as they go.
Yeah, because cards that were deemed not as powerful, they just removed them from the list.
Yeah, I think that's good. being that receptive to fandom, card game space where people can get very
bitter.
We can get very bitter and very ravenous about people are defensive about their favorite cards, their favorite decks. You guys are fucking this all up and changing what I can and can't play.
I need to visit that Discord server just so I can see how Discourse works there, because we've seen Yu-Gi-Oh players in a Konami run Discord, and there's no way it could be that bad, right?
Yeah. I saw the Tolarian Community College, the professor, he had uploaded a video today, yesterday, something that was how to upgrade your Magic the Gathering deck from a level 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, kind of a little guide on how a person might power up their deck to get it to different power levels as the table demands it, you know. And one of the common complaints that he was kind of having to wrestle with were people who were just saying well, basically you just spend more money and that's how you go up to the level, So I just say that because it seems like that's an interesting sentiment that maybe is that some Magic the Gathering players are sharing, is that maybe this tier list is really just not a money tier list, just how much money you're willing to put into your deck. So
the people that are making the game changers list, they're not also influencing the prices. That's actually the players doing that.
Yeah, so if any of our listeners play Magic, and I'm sure there's 2 of you who do.
I'm sure it's more than
That's
2.
Sarcasm.
4.
Right. Let us know. How are you feeling now that we are a few months into that whole, just what is the official name of it? I keep forgetting. The power levels. There's an official name for it, right?
I've already forgotten.
I guess because it's not top of mind for me, but
because I haven't really played as much Commander since I'm waiting on the Final Fantasy and the Spider-Man sets. That's kind of what I've been waiting on. But I've been playing Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh too, so that's
the brackets, I guess. Yeah, Commander brackets. I think.
Oh, is that the name? I thought that was the name of a website.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, the Commander brackets thing.
Yeah, it sure does say that. I feel stupid.
Yeah, exhibition, core, upgraded, optimized, and CEDH. Okay. Cool. Well, anyways, I got another little quick card game story. There's a new card game on the block, and it's My Little Pony.
Can we turn off the cameras right now?
This April, the My Little Pony card game will make its global debut in China, co-developed by Hasbro, a leading games, IP, and toy company, and Kaio, a pioneering force in China's trading card industry. This trading card game offers fans and card game enthusiasts a brand new journey of friendship and fun. So, they just announced this. I know My Little Pony did do a collab with Magic the Gathering a few years back, so it kind of makes sense that Hasbro would be working on this. Here's a little promotional image that kind of shows how the cards look. Thoughts? What do we think?
Those certainly look like My Little Pony.
They are seemingly full art cards, so I guess this game will have full arts.
I guess they do vaguely remind me of Pokemon cards.
Yeah. There's going to be 2 launch tournaments that take place in Shanghai on April 26th, that's this weekend, and May 3rd, giving fans a first opportunity to experience the joy of playing in person. Looking ahead, the game will be released in multiple languages, allowing players around the world to join in on the fun.
I think, so my issue and why I cringe initially hearing this, it is the brony epidemic of, what was that, 2012, 2013 somewhere.
Kind of the early 2010s, I guess.
Yeah, that kind of killed My Little Pony to me, because before I felt nothing about My Little Pony. I didn't think about it. It existed and that was fine with me.
My Little Pony. That's what the commercials were, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was assaulted by the huge upheaval of MLP fans, and you can tell I've heard so much because I even call it MLP because they called it MLP because that was just how it was. I hate the fact that when I saw that picture, there were a few ponies that I actually knew the names of, and that's purely because of bronies. I have never watched My Little Pony.
So what exactly was a brony?
A brony.
Unironically, what was a brony?
Do you want to break down the name or
whatever you think is best?
So it's a it's a bro who likes ponies.
You like My Little Pony ponies?
My Little Ponies. Now, the proper definition is likely something on the lines of male fans of the My Little Pony like cartoon series.
So what makes them so bad?
What makes bronies bad?
Yeah.
The sheer amount of them.
Okay.
It's a bit like how if anything becomes like popular enough, it becomes annoying. Like Harry Potter fans or Marvel fans, Star Wars fans. Well, My Little Pony fans. Except they had the trademark brony, and my issue with it wasn't that My Little Pony was initially a toy series marketed towards like girls. It's just purely because of how incessant the bronies around me were in like telling me about My Little Pony. Okay. Oh, that was a dark time.
Yeah, I remember like it kind of seemed to have like a negative connotation, but I never really knew like.
I mean, people typically they would judge you if you liked My Little Pony because it's not manly to like My Little Pony.
Well, I see something. Here's what somebody says on Reddit.
Oh no.
The short answer is an adult male fan of My Little Pony. If you're an adult male who likes My Little Pony, then you are a brony. At the same time, the word comes with a lot of negative implications. Some people equate the word brony to mean a fat, smelly guy who gets into arguments with children online about the show and looks at NSFW images of ponies. This is why a lot of people don't want to be called bronies. They don't want to feel like they're being looked down upon. That doesn't mean that when someone uses the term brony, they're using it negatively. Some use it as an endearing term, others derogatory.
I wouldn't have put it quite that way, mostly because while I knew quite a few bronies back in the day, they kind of range in their appearance and like smells. So I can't really
it's
say
very much a
they're all fat and smell. It's kind of like how card gamers, especially Yu-Gi-Oh players, are branded as these like
we're just smelly, sweaty,
dungeon dwelling people. Like that if the sun hits our skin, we start to burn.
Yeah, when in reality, that kind of couldn't be further from the truth.
Like Yu-Gi-Oh players and card gamers in general, bronies are just regular people who like a show. It just, could they be a little too enthusiastic about it? Yes. But I also hate when anyone is enthusiastic about anything. So,
well, anyways, here's the Twilight Sparkle starter deck. There's a little image of that. And there's, I guess, 4 types of cards. A main character card, which sounds like it's probably your commander. There's regular character cards. There are scene cards, which this one looks pretty cool. It's kind of got this coloring book aesthetic, I guess, like this uncolored coloring book page. And then there's a story card, which those seem to be.
I feel like this triggered a fight or flight response in me.
You just don't.
I think we've hit like a PTSD thing for me.
Yeah, so this is like your own little personal problem.
Yeah, it bothers me. Just seeing it bothers me. And there's nothing wrong with like My Little Pony, the brand, or even the TV show. My understanding is that people really enjoyed it. It's just those were dark times in community college.
Well,
one guy showed up with a tail.
Ooh, okay. See, I feel like that's probably they were maybe just going into, I guess, is it like furry territory at that point?
I mean, he didn't have like a suit, just a tail.
Okay, well, you're going to be playing My Little Pony. You're going to be trying out this card game?
I can't. Absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm too scarred.
Well, honestly, neither will I. But my reasons for not trying it are because like I've never had an opinion on My Little Pony.
Well, you can get one now.
Yeah, I guess that's true. And I also I kind of fall back on the usual excuse of there's just too many card games to even like pay attention to.
But think about it. How did you become a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh?
I saw the TV show.
Perfect, because My Little Pony Friendship is Magic is streaming free on Tubi right now.
So, that's true. Yeah.
Go. As soon as the pod's over, you can wheel on over to your chair and pop up. So start watching an episode, and next thing you know, you'll be playing a card game.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, a couple of last little quick ones. Ubisoft announced Might and Magic Fates, which is a new trading card game, though it's just a digital game.
Might and Magic.
Yeah, this is apparently an established universe. What? Is it?
I don't know. What is that?
Ubisoft and Immutable have partnered to develop Might and Magic Fates, a brand new free-to-play trading card game set in the legendary Might and Magic universe, coming soon to iOS and Android. Which that kind of was where I was like, okay, I'm off the boat because I am just not interested in really following digital card games that much. But
legendary,
it will continue the franchise's rich legacy while introducing new ways to play and explore its storied universe. So I guess like
I must have missed something.
Magic and Fate, it must be like a real thing, and we are just ignorant and know nothing.
Okay. It's called Might and Magic, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to look it up, and I'm going to tell you
While you're
immediately
looking
if
it
I
up, I'll just
recognize it.
read this sort of blurb. It will invite players to build powerful decks, master a diverse array of mechanics, and battle with iconic heroes and creatures from across time in the mystical sea of fates. With deep strategic gameplay, faction-based playstyles, and hundreds of cards to collect, it's designed to offer a competitive experience where victory is earned through skill, not spending.
Wow.
They actually say that in their official press release. So it kind of seems like it's supposed to imply that, like, yeah, this isn't your typical pay-to-win mobile game.
Well, Paul, there's a very obvious reason why we are not familiar with Might and Magic.
Why is that?
Because most of what I'm seeing as part of their history on Wikipedia took place before we were born.
Oh.
Like, the first Might and Magic Book 1 came out in 1986.
Oh.
Might and Magic 2 was in 88. 3 was in 91. 4 was in 92. And they were on 5 the year I was born in 93.
Oh, man. Okay. So this is like kind of some old lore.
Like, the last Might and Magic title was Might and Magic X Legacy in 2014.
Okay.
So it's been a minute.
Well, they say matches and fates are powered by a mana system based on gold generated directly from the cards in your hand, resulting in fast-paced matches and layered deck-building strategies. Heroes play a central role. They fight alongside their army of creatures. They can equip various artifacts and earn experience during each battle, unlocking abilities that can turn the tide of the match. Anyway, if you're interested in this, you can visit mightandmagicfates.com to learn more and stay up to date.
I'm not going to lie, Paul. Didn't that sound a little bit like Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, just the description of it?
I mean, aren't most card games, like, when you kind of just squint, they all sound about the same? Like you summon your powerful creatures to fight your opponent's creatures using magic and
with, like,
equipment
artifacts,
type
that's
stuff.
Equipment. I mean,
it almost sounds more like Magic the Gathering to me.
And I was scrolling through these, like, pictures of Might and Magic, and parts of it reminded me of some of our, like, PS2 games. This, like, tile-based game where you're removing these monsters.
Oh, like a real-time strategy game, I guess.
It reminds me of, what was that, Capsule Monsters Coliseum and Duelist of the Roses.
Okay. Well, that's cool. I mean, I'm not even going to lie and pretend I'm going to ever play this, but if anyone sounds interested in it, or if Ubisoft wants me to pretend to be interested in it for a sponsorship, I'll gladly do that.
Or, guys, if you guys just make one comment saying Paul should play this game, and that comment gets, let's say, 500 likes,
then I have to try.
Paul will have to play it.
That's our new strategy, is just set just these highly unrealistic goals.
It's not impossible. They can make multiple accounts.
That's true.
And I honestly, and while everyone else is against bots, guys, I'm actually not. If you bot and hit that goal, Paul will honor it.
All right, well, that's all the card game stuff I got. So I do have a little bit of gaming. If you want to talk gaming, unless you have another card game story.
I just found Might and Magic was on Nintendo DS. It was a spinoff. So it's
Flash
not, I
of
guess
Heroes.
it's not quite that old.
So Nintendo Switch, you might have heard, got a new pre-order date where, like, you can pre-order things. It's the 24th, which is the day that this podcast will go up. So that's not really very useful to a listener. However, the prices of Nintendo Switch accessories have gone up due to the tariffs and other sort of...
I mean, there's no way those weren't all just made in China.
Yeah, economic factors. Yeah, exactly. So the Nintendo Switch is not going to be changing its price. It's still $449, but the accessories have experienced price adjustments. A Nintendo Switch Pro controller, or Switch 2 Pro controller, is going from $80 to $85. A Joy-Con pair is going from $90 to $95. A charging grip, $35 to $40. A Joy-Con strap, $12.99 to $13.99. Joy-Con 2 wheel set, $19.99 to $24.99. I don't know why I suddenly started saying the 99s. The Switch 2 camera from $50 to $55. The Switch 2 dock set from $110 to $120. Switch 2 AC adapter from $29 to $35. A carrying case and screen protector from $34 to $40. And the all-in-one carrying case from $80 to $85. So a lot to basically say that across the board, Nintendo Switch 2 accessories are all going up by about $5.
Okay. So I think in the grand scheme of things, things going up by like $5 or $6, that's not gonna kill us. But I think it does highlight just how expensive these were to begin with.
That's what I was gonna say. When I first read this shit, I was like, man, this is a little high. Like,
because like Joy-Cons went from 90 to 95. It's like 90 is very expensive, and now you're saying it's 95. 95 makes it feel it feels super expensive.
It does highlight it, right? Like, it highlights the fact that it's a lot of money. The good news about these accessories, at least for me, in the way that I kind of play games, and because I have a Switch, I just don't buy any accessories. Like, literally,
that's because you're boring.
I don't actually. When you think about how gaming works now, you don't even really need to buy extra controllers these days. Like, maybe one.
That's true.
Because
if you don't have anyone to come over and play locally with you, then why buy extra?
Yeah, like for the most part, you're playing games online with your friends. So like the need to buy an additional Pro controller, like I guess, well, the Pro controller wouldn't come with it, so you'd have to buy that outright. And man, $85.
I mean, I know the controllers for like PlayStation and Xbox aren't cheap, but
they're the same. Yeah, they're like $70 or something.
But like 85 for a Switch controller. The game is changed. Like, this is not your mama's Nintendo.
It's just not cheap. And, you know, the only reason that like Sony and Microsoft aren't increasing the prices of their controllers, at least right now, is just because they probably have such a high stock of them in the United States. They don't have to. Because a lot of the Switch 2 stuff, my understanding of it is that a big part of the reason why they did not have to increase the price of the Switch 2 was because they'd already manufactured a lot of them and they were already in the United States, like warehoused and everything. Mm-hmm. But many of the accessories, I think, were a little behind on the schedule. Not like running late, but like, you know, just those were being made later than the consoles themselves. And so they would probably be more subject to the effects of tariffs. So you better, if you're buying some accessories, you better damn sure, like, this better be what you want.
Now, I did hear that there's a chance that these tariffs might come back down again. Do you think they'll readjust prices again if the tariffs go down or even disappear?
My general answer to questions like that is no. I think these companies are just like, well, listen, we got an excuse to make it a little higher. And even if the tariffs go away, we'll just keep the prices a little high and not tell anybody. However, I could see a world where maybe they just kind of bring them back to the original announced prices. They would certainly never go any lower than that.
Because I imagine that when they did their initial pricing, they'd already run a formula to find the optimal price to minimize fall off from such a large price increase from the get-go. Yeah. So I feel like them having to increase prices afterwards kind of messes things up a little bit. My guess is they'd already found their perfect price.
Yeah, and so I'm going to get a little abstract here, but this is sort of a marketing term or concept. There is a certain amount of, like, there are certain prices that are just more attractive to people. Like, there's like kind of a number theory to it, which is basically like, okay, so this Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller, the old MSRP was $79.99. Mm-hmm. The newest MSRP is $84.99. That 4 messes everything up. It's just something about it in the eyes of like the average consumer, sort of, it looks like a weird price, like a controller for $84.99. You just expect certain things in your head to be something $9.99.
Yeah.
$9.99, $19.99,
they've trained us.
$29.99. Like, yeah, we're brainwashed. And when it's like hearing that something went from $79.99, which is already like, that's high for a controller and unreasonable to begin with. But like when you see it going up to $84.99, it just suddenly like reminds you like, oh, this is high. Like, this is so high. Like, it's not that much higher than 79, but just that 84, it feels like it's like a weird, odd, awkward number. And
it feels like you're kissing $100, even though it's not that much more than 80. It feels like, okay, at this point, you might as well make me just pay 100. I don't know why you're doing this.
Well, it actually brings me back to that same like idea of why, like, I thought it would have been great if they could have gotten this console down to like $399.99 instead of $449. I know they probably tried really hard, but like, because 399, just having that 3 in there makes you still feel like we're in the 300 neighborhood. You're not. It's a $400 console, but the 3 softens the blow, and it feels more inviting. That's why they won't actually say like 400. And once you're at like that 449, it's just like it's awkward. It's like it's weird. So,
it'll be fun. This will be a fun executive order. What if all prices just had to be just round dollars? No more 99s. Everything has to be an exact dollar amount. So how much is this? Is this controller? Well, it's 40.
I do think that would just simplify stuff. Like
I'm sick of the 99s.
I think that the 99s. I don't really love it. Like, do you? I know, like, I guess as we just described, I know there's a kind of a marketing benefit to the concept of the 99, but I always felt like it just makes things sloppy. Like, it makes tax numbers
That's exactly
get yucky
what I was thinking.
and gross. Yeah, I know. Like,
it's like if these numbers are round, then you can very easily like track like your sales tax and stuff. But of course, like, oh no, this is $35.99. It's like, well, okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, because like then just rounding gets gross, and like you get like yucky little numbers. Like, okay, your total is $43.67, and it's just like, okay, like
who carries pennies anymore?
Like, it would be great if we just lived in a cleaner world literally a cleaner world, but like a world where, okay, the controller or the game or whatever is $40, and taxes are either like 5% or 10%. So it's just like,
keep it simple.
Everything's really simple.
Are these taxes fair? We don't know, but they're simple.
Yeah, they're simple. I mean, at least you can know. I don't know. We're kind of getting off on a tangent here, but
I mean, we're just trying to create the world the way that we would like to live in.
They also said that Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders in Japan have exceeded their expectations, and that they had to issue a warning, at least in Japan, that like, yeah, some of you guys ain't gonna get this.
Ooh, shortage?
At least early
PS5 debacle?
Yeah, so they said basically that like, because it was like for the people who had to pre-order through like My Nintendo or whatever, where like you had to apply and all that stuff. Nintendo says 2.2 million people applied to pre-order a Switch on the My Nintendo store in Japan alone, and warns a, quote, significant number of customers will miss out. So, yeah, this extremely large number of applications far exceeds our expectations and far exceeds the number of Nintendo Switch 2 consoles that can be delivered from the My Nintendo store on June 5th. So as a result, they expect a significant number of customers will not be selected when the winners of the lottery sale are announced tomorrow. On April 24th, that'll be today.
Oh, they love those little lotteries. I wonder why.
Nintendo so far has not issued a similar warning to customers in the West, however. So maybe they allocated more for us over here. I'm sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Remember when we went to Tokyo, I realized like they really love just having these kind of lottery systems. It can be for like very low stakes things where it's like you go shopping and you get entered into a little lottery, you might win something. Or you could buy a little lottery ticket and get some merch. But even for like the console release, it's a lottery?
Well, two thoughts on that. The first is kind of, here's my just general ignorant, like, we've been to Japan one time, people, so
which means we've mastered the country.
Grain of salt, right? I do think that maybe culturally, the idea of a little bit of a random chance of getting something fun seems like that's just embedded a little bit. Like gotcha machines, just the gachapons that you will literally just see on the streets.
You do see them all the time.
Of Akiba and stuff. Like, and you'll just see them in stores and stuff. Just this chance of like, pull a lucky thing and you might get this. Like, it just, is how it is.
Yeah,
you could call
racist.
it, huh? Oh yeah. Appropriating their culture and all this stuff. I mean, but I think like a less charitable way of saying that might be like, they're just gambling all the time. Like, they're just encouraging casual gambling, like, putting your dollar, your 10 yen or whatever into this gotcha machine and get. But I think
they did invent pachinko, and that is one of the most mind-boggling fun things you can ever do.
But yeah, so I mean, that's kind of an interesting just observation I had. The second point, though, is it's not such a surprise that it's happening with the Switch 2, because in the West we have had to develop more and more lottery systems. I think, especially like post 2020, as like the collector boom of so many things shot up, where like it's drop culture. You got to make the drop. Like
every time a new pair of Jordans come out, it's who's getting in, who's getting in. Yeah,
there's lotteries and signing in and like waiting and seeing it. So
and then the people who get in, they immediately start trying to resell them on your Facebook feed.
A last thing to mention too, though, is that this is just for My Nintendo. So that's like, that whole account based thing. It still sounds like, this is separate from your pre-orders at maybe your local box retailer in Japan.
So this is not like a real shortage, just one avenue.
One avenue. This is for those pre-orders. So, it's
it could be worse.
Yeah, it could be worse. The refreshing thing, or maybe the positive spin on the whole thing, is like people want their Switch 2s. At least certainly in Japan, they want their Switch 2s.
Which Nintendo is kind of like a cultural staple at this point. I mean, if there were any place where people would be like chomping at the bit to get the newest Nintendo, it would be in Japan.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen a lot more hype leading up to it now that the price debacle has sort of begun to, like, people just accept it.
We made our peace with it.
Yeah.
We budgeted.
Exactly. Because that's it. You know what it reminds me a lot of? What we talked about, like maybe it was last week with the Minecraft movie. I think that if you are plugged in online a bunch, you're seeing a lot of people who've been criticizing the Switch 2. Nintendo's gotten too big for their britches. They've lost touch with their, consumers and their audience. This stuff is way overpriced and it's going to fail and it's going to blow up in their face and they will get what they deserve for making this console too expensive, these games too expensive. They've gotten greedy. And you know what's probably going to happen? The Switch 2 is going to come out and it's just going to sell really well, because the truth is what you heard on Twitter or what you heard on like kind of a clickbait YouTubers
It don't matter.
thing doesn't actually matter, because like people just like Nintendo. I think that it will not probably sell as well as the original Switch did, but I still think it will sell
better.
Well, maybe, but I think it will still sell extremely well. And most of the people that are skeptical will probably still just eventually get one.
I think my hard prediction is this: like, yeah, those early sales, they'll be whatever. The Switch and Nintendo in general has always made their money during the holidays.
Yeah, where mom and dad are buying stuff.
I think there's a chance it will eclipse the sales of the Switch 1 come the holidays.
I mean, I certainly think that if nothing else, like, that's kind of where people lose a little bit of their rationality with spending too.
Yep.
Like, isn't it crazy that just your likelihood of buying something on Black Friday is just more tempted, it's just higher than your likelihood of buying something tomorrow?
Like, I would be floored if my little brother didn't have a Switch 2 in his hands come Christmas.
Yeah, it's just how it is. I think like some parents have sort of resigned themselves to it. Like,
and if they don't buy it, I'm gonna buy it.
For him or for you?
For him.
Okay.
It is because it makes no sense to me to like, because that's just kind of the Nintendo marketing deal, or like how we've been trained culturally. There's a new Nintendo out. I have a child in the family.
Yeah.
There's no way he's getting past Christmas without
it's
one.
the default like gift thing. Right. I know some people will hear that and say like, oh, so you guys are just doing a 180 on the Switch 2 because for whatever reason. Yeah, we were more critical about it, I think, a couple weeks ago, where I was saying like, yeah, I think this price is going to be a factor. I still believe all of that.
And I was buying it for myself. I'm talking about for someone else.
Yeah, like I still believe all of that. I still think that it will struggle a little more than the Switch 1 did, because that was like an astronomically successful console. However, I just don't buy into this whole idea that like Nintendo's done for. Like they're not.
Christmas is different.
They will be fine. Like the holidays will more than get this console through. It's a lot like the PS5, where despite all the shortages and despite kind of the price points and stuff like that, people fucking want those PS5s, and they did get them.
That's true. I got one. Don't even play it.
And the thing with the PS5 Pro, I remember $700 for the goddamn thing. And we're all like, this is way too much for a console. But then when pre-order day like dropped, sold out, like can't get to it, so someone's going to buy it. It doesn't have to be you. It's not even going to be me. Like I'm not pre-ordering a Switch 2. But
when's the new Pokemon game come out?
This November maybe?
Okay.
I don't know if they said a date yet.
It by November. Okay.
But yeah, that's the Switch 2 stuff. What you got?
So now I want to move towards something not gamey, but still techie.
Okay.
Have you heard of the Orb?
The Orb. What is the Orb?
So there's this company. Anyway, Sam Altman, the guy who owns and runs OpenAI, he backs this company that's making a kind of universal like ID, but it actually scans your face and your eyes to verify if you're a person or not.
Okay.
And this comes up because this got announced a while ago, but recently, I think it was CNN, they got their hands on it. One of the reporters tried it, and it worked, but not in the way that anyone was expecting.
Okay, I see. So the orb is a device used by WorldCoin.
WorldCoin.
Yeah. A project co-founded by Sam Altman to verify human identity.
They did drop the coin later.
It uses iris scanning technology to create a digital proof of humanness, known as a world ID, which can be used to prove a person's unique identity online. The orb is designed to be a secure and privacy-preserving way to verify identity, ensuring that individuals can demonstrate their humanness without revealing personal information.
So essentially, it's like CAPTCHA, but it's a physical device you would have in your home. And it's actually quite large.
Yeah, do you have a picture of it? I'll also put up a picture on screen for people to see.
Right, close that. It's kind of in a video form, but you can see it right here. It's kind of like a little bit bigger than a basketball. It's playing an ad. Stop it.
Interesting. So basically, you I guess you have this orb camera thing, and you sit it in your living room,
which feels awkward,
or maybe your desk at your computer desk, and when you need to verify your identity, which I guess in their ideal world, this will, you'll use it to verify this for signing into many things. Mm-hmm. You will like look at the orb and it will scan you, and I guess be like, yes, Alec, like you're a human, you're real, and you're flesh.
And now you essentially have this passport or digital passport that websites can confirm, like, okay, this is a real person, this is not a bot. And in the video that they had on CNN, the creator or the CPO, Chief Product Officer, Tiago Sada, he envisions a world where we can like go to concerts or we can buy tickets for concerts without having to compete with bots. We've talked a lot about the secret layer drops, right? And how the moment they drop, they're pretty much immediately bought out because of all the bots, and that websites don't do a good enough job of filtering bots. Well,
bots can get through CAPTCHAs really easily now, and that's like the Ticketmaster Taylor Swift controversies that you hear every other month. Yeah,
the orb is supposed to be a solution for that, even if it's a very strange-looking astronaut helmet.
Yeah, and the lady in the video, because I saw it too, she it like wasn't able to. It didn't verify her, I guess, because like she was wearing blue light filtering contacts, right?
Yes. Now I do think when they were doing the demo, they actually expected it to work, but because she had those contacts in, the orb kept reporting something was blocking her face and would not confirm that she is a real person.
So that's interesting. I guess they're spinning that sort of mishap as like, look how, I guess, accurate it can be, because like even if someone was trying to wear like contacts or something to kind of fool it, that wouldn't work. I think though that's probably a bug they're gonna have to iron out, because I mean like many people wear contacts every day.
Contacts.
So
like glasses, sure, I could take my glasses off, but it'll be a pain to take my contacts out every time I want to use my orb.
Now, another little aspect of this story that I saw is that they were giving people a small bit of cryptocurrency if you used it. Now this is not available in the United States, first of all, I saw.
Yeah, right now it's only in South America.
Yeah, it's in like maybe 20 different countries, mostly in South America. And I guess they're trying to incentivize people to try it and use it by giving them a little bit of crypto. It's called WorldCoin, I guess, was what it was.
I think when they first launched this project, it was supposed to be a full-on cryptocurrency venture where the orb verifies all the holders of the cryptocurrency. So there would not be any bot trading of coins.
Yeah.
And, only you would be able to use your wallet. But,
all right, let's cut to the chase. You buying one?
Hell no.
All right, next question. They tell you you're forced to put one in your house. I guess you're forced to, but like
I'm joining the resistance.
Yeah. What do you think about it? Because I honestly get what they're going for here. this thing looks fancy, to be honest, which means it probably costs a bunch of
Looks
money.
creepy.
So, yeah, I'll get into that. But it looks like there's no way that this is the sort of thing that the government or something is going to just distribute to people's households for free.
Well, in the interview, he actually talks about his goal, because it's not really released like that yet, is that you can you can order one.
Okay.
To show up temporarily to your house like a DoorDash. But that seems like a logistical nightmare.
Okay. I'm going to give them some credit here. They have lofty ideals. Like, for people listening, I guess if you're just an audio listener, it looks like basically like an astronaut's helmet. A little bit more.
Imagine a little bit bigger than a basketball.
Yeah, about maybe the size of a basketball. It's kind of sleek.
Almost
kind
all
of glassy, chrome looking. And it does have like a camera of sorts and maybe other biometric sensors. So something of that size. Where do you keep that? Like in your home? I think that would be yucky and gross to have anywhere.
On your bedstand.
You just have it on your bedstand? Would you have it at your computer desk? I don't, so that's kind of weird. The second thing too is immediate privacy concerns. No, their argument is that this is just used to verify that you are human and I guess create an ID for you. But I just just privacy just seems like, I don't know. I don't trust.
You're talking about collecting a lot of people's data. And in a world where we're so protective of our data, where is that data going?
I guess, are we protective of our data? Because half of us are just using
that's facts.
Smartphones and social media and everything.
But
sorry, I cut you off.
We use our little biometrics on our phones and stuff. So you're right. We don't care that much about our data. But I don't know. They're affiliated with an AI company. They make cryptocurrency. This feels scammy to me. Even if, what's his name, Triago, whatever, even if he means well and he wants the best for the world, I don't trust Sam Altman one bit.
Yeah, I think most people don't. I just couldn't see myself really using this. It seems a little tedious too. I know people can trick the CAPTCHAs and stuff on websites, so this is trying to kind of get around that. But it seems tedious to use because, I guess you just, where do you put it? Where do you, I guess, do you pick it up? All of that seems rough.
It also, we might not have a choice. Given the popularity and how good deepfakes have become, maybe we will be in a situation in the next 20 years where this might be the only way to know if the person online you're talking to is real.
I think that is true. If you think about dating sites and stuff, this could be sort of useful just to prove that someone's real and not just trying to catfish you for a bunch of money or something. Abstractly speaking, how do you feel about the idea that a kind of robotic, a tech device is able to tell you, who is flesh and blood, if you are human? Does something about that ring strange, or maybe I'm just overthinking that?
No, you are 100% on what I'm on. I would kill it. I would crush it. I would destroy it. A robot can't tell me anything about me.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it, where it's amidst all of the kind of other logistic kind of practicality complaints that I've already levied against it, just there's something about this thing looking at you and being able to then tell you, no, Alec, you're not a human. I don't think that you are human. I cannot validate that you are human. Because when that inevitably happens, what is that saying? You know what I mean?
I feel like we're getting into Ghost in the Shell territories of existentialism at this point. Because what does it even really mean to be human? Is our physical body human? And it scans your retina. Does my eye make me human? If we can figure out a way to replicate human retina into cyborgs, are they human now?
I wonder too, if you get eye surgeries or different things like that, I wonder if that throws it off.
It shouldn't, given my basic understanding of what they did to my eyes. But how would I know? I never thought we would get quite this far in technology this fast.
Well, because also I do think like some people get like surgeries where they actually like have kind of replacement stuff. I don't know.
That's true for like, because like there are people that have like damaged parts of their eyes where the surgery has to be a bit more complicated. So it might actually change things.
Well, speaking of our best friend Sam Altman,
Who?
OpenAI is reportedly developing its own X-like social media platform.
I'm guessing that it's...
So you're going to go on ChatGPT, the social media site, Alec?
So my assumption, it sounds like I would make an account and then it put in my feed is nothing but AI catering to my every women need.
Probably so. OpenAI is building its own X-like social media network, according to a new report from The Verge. The project is still in the early stages, but there's an internal prototype focused on ChatGPT's image generation that contains a social feed. The report states that it's unknown if OpenAI plans to launch the social network as a standalone app or if it plans to integrate it within the ChatGPT app. So it would be taking on Elon Musk's X and Meta's social media platforms, Facebook and Instagram. And it would also allow OpenAI to access real-time data to train its AI models, something that X and Meta already have. Apparently, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, our best friend, has reportedly been privately asking outsiders for feedback about the social network. It's not clear whether they'll ever launch it publicly, but the existence of a prototype shows that they are looking to expand beyond their current offerings. So, you gonna hop on the new AI social media site?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
And only because I hate Twitter or X or whatever we call it. I would do it out of spite. I wouldn't post because I don't post on Twitter either. I don't post on any social media really. But I would make an account out of spite. And I guess I would look at it to see like what an AI social media site really looks like. I mean, you could argue that's what Twitter X already is. But
Yeah,
it feels
damn
like
near close.
It feels like this would be more focused on like AI features. And, you know, I would look at least until I saw an AI generated image and I'd be out.
So probably in the first like 2 seconds.
Probably.
Yeah, it is interesting because I guess it basically means like if you were using this site, you are like anything that you post is just going to immediately going into training data. Like that would be the understanding. Like when you join this thing and like download this app or whatever, the moment you just even decide to post, you know, like, hi, I ate an apple for lunch today, like this AI training data, the text, the context, whatever, like if you ever upload a selfie, you know that the moment you're basically just sending it straight to like, you know, AI training.
What if, it'd be interesting, what if like they launch this, then we all just start typing in revisionist American history and we just make up the facts as we choose? I wonder if that could have an actual effect on the accuracy of ChatGPT. If we just fed it incorrect statements, just at a massive clip, all 100,000 million users.
You know what's like kind of interesting too? Like when I step back from it a bit, what is the point of a social media app by like OpenAI? Like what? Like just I know they're what they want out of it.
Yeah, I think
training
they
data.
just want.
That's like clear.
I thought they wanted to just take a shot at Elon Musk.
Yeah, or that, you know, like they want to get some ad revenue. But like, what is the pitch to you, the user? Like, I guess it's another social media place to hang out and talk and shit post. But like, it's weird because are you supposed to be seeing what your friends are saying, or are you supposed to just be seeing like AI pictures and AI accounts?
I'm telling you, it will be a feed, but all the accounts are just AI, and they're chatting.
But then why does but that's the thing. So like, why would you or I join it?
Because like, we don't want real interaction. We just want computer generated bullshit.
But that's the thing. If that's the case, then does it even need to be considered a social network? Like, okay.
It's more like a social experiment.
Yeah, that sounds more like it. Because here's the thing, right? I know we've already had these stories about how like Meta is, and I've seen them now. They're working on like those like AI made accounts that are on Instagram and Facebook, where it's like, this is, you know, Daniel. He's a grandfather with 2, you know, grandkids, and he likes doing this and that. You know, and it's this whole fake persona. And you can talk to Daniel. You can talk to, you know, Marissa, and she'll like say hi and talk to you, and like she likes this thing that you like too. And I guess you can message her and she'll post little fake AI pictures, and to the average onlooker, it is supposed to
AI generated nudes.
That's probably not far off. But that's the idea is to the average person on Meta who does not follow AI, does not really know what any of this shit is, it is meant to look like another account and one that will openly talk to you. So if you're kind of a loser and no one speaks to you, you have no friends, then this person will talk. They will always message you back. They will, thank you for engaging with the content. And also, I remember we read an article about this exact thing was also like these AI accounts will comment on your pictures and like comment on your posts to give the veneer of engagement so that you don't feel like you are, because a big issue that social media sites have is that actually most people don't post. Nope. Largely because they maybe don't have the time or the interest, but also just because like on Facebook, if you upload a picture today and you're one of the cool kids, you're well connected, you're kind of a socialite, you'll get a bunch of likes. But if you're kind of more of just, you were not like that, you weren't super sociable, you upload a picture of yourself and you get no likes and you feel shitty because like, oh, no one loves me and all this stuff. Well, they can basically change that by having the fake accounts that will like it. And now you'll get like 20 likes and like 7 comments. And
because people are shitty, they're going to create AI friends for you.
Yes, that's what Meta and like Instagram and Facebook and stuff, that's what they have been sort of trying to do. My thought, though, is on this supposed OpenAI social media thing, social network, why would I make an account and add you as a friend at all?
Well, I guess, interesting. I guess you wouldn't, right?
Like, are we meant to add other people?
Sign in and all you do are add AI as friends.
Or I guess what's likely the truth is they want it to be a mix where I join the OpenAI social media thing and I add Alec and other people I know as friends. And then I also just in the midst of that add some AI friends. And like now my feed is like, 20% people I know, 25%. And then like also like 75% AI. And maybe the AI
are... you're also friends with AI, Tupac?
Yeah, and I guess maybe the AI is trained to resemble the friends that I have and almost multiply the. Oh my God, that's dark. So imagine this, right, Alec? You join the social media thing, you add all the people you know in real life. It kind of analyzes those people and the fact that you added them, and now creates additional fake people to give you the illusion that you have more friends than you do, but that are all like the friends that you have. So if you only have maybe 3 people you consider truly like good friends,
they make 150
now
profiles.
They will make 100 of them, and they all are like those 3 people. So like, yeah, man.
Oh man, now I just imagine that those obvious like baity like tweets that you'll see. Like, man, nobody better post any Black Widow cosplay pictures underneath there. Y'all better not.
With the Kevin Hart picture too. Yeah.
Like, but you do that on the AI platform, and so they just AI generate all the pictures. It's a new way to run like a query through your Chat GPT AI.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think I could ever see myself joining a social network like this. But to be fair, I don't want to join another new social network like in my life.
You said you're more than satisfied with Twitter.
I hate the place. Honestly, I mean, I don't like Twitter. I barely like Facebook. I kind of would like them gone, but I kind of use them for work. So, yeah, maybe this will happen. And when it does, Alec and I will be there day one to.
I'll be setting computers on fire.
Back.
It'll be my first day as part of the resistance. You'll know when we're here. You'll know what we've done.
Any other stories?
That's all I got. I didn't have much.
Cool. Well, I think it's time then for us to do a little bit of pot.
Pot time.
Woo. I also got to apologize. I know some people kind of get tired of us maybe doing all these AI stories, but we will continue to do them. So I just thought I needed to apologize for needing to.
We just talk about what interests us. And even though we hate it, it does interest us. And if we can convince any one person to hate AI almost as much as I do, we've done our job.
No, but in all seriousness, I mean, like, these stories I do find fascinating. I know that they can get a little bit wearing because it's either like very doomery or whatever, but like, they're interesting. I will try to find like other cool stories as well, but
You know what? I will endeavor to find an AI story that I can be positive about.
That's gonna be hard.
It'll be like, Russia is working on an AI killer virus. Oh, there it is.
Well, anyways, here's some questions, topics, whatever, submitted by viewers. So we will draw 2 cards as an answer to questions. If you guys want to submit questions, you can do so at the link down below.
And no, we have not changed the
we haven't changed from Google Drive, but if somebody knows a better system, please let me know that. I have not yet found one. Hi, there are many parts of Yu-Gi-Oh that are unintuitive. Activating the effects of monsters that are negated, think Neptibus, and being able to fuse but not link summon with face-down monsters are good examples. These things give the game a certain charm and are fine once you learn them, but they create confusion with new players. I've brought a handful of my friends into Yu-Gi-Oh! And they get frustrated each time a new case comes up. We're split 50-50. Are all the weird rules endearing or annoying? It feels like the rules were made up as the game became more complex. Should they be cleaned up?
Okay, this is actually a pretty good.
This is a juicy. This might be the
this.
best, like, just Yu-Gi-Oh based question I think I've had in a little bit.
I think because we've all dealt with teaching people Yu-Gi-Oh or reintroducing them to Yu-Gi-Oh. I really think the rules and rulings of Yu-Gi-Oh make a lot more sense when they are learned kind of as you were kind of like initially supposed to.
Yeah.
Kind of as they come up. Because when you're learning Yu-Gi-Oh all at once, it can just feel like a game that has rules that immediately like bend and break themselves. Because you're seeing all of what Yu-Gi-Oh has to offer from the start. But if you were able to just start from DM era Yu-Gi-Oh and work your way through all the nonsense, each like instance of weird rules, it's not that bad.
So my take on it's probably a little less charitable, but not entirely negative. I think that Yu-Gi-Oh, this person's kind of right that Yu-Gi-Oh is a game that's kind of carried a lot of baggage with it over the years, and more of it has become, I would dare I say, exploited in card design recently. So, for instance, once upon a time, like think of like costs, right? He gives the example of Neptibus. It can, send an Atlantean monster to search an Atlantean monster. But if it's negated by whatever given card, infinite impermanence, effect failure, or skill drain is face up on the field, you can still activate the monster's effect. It will just resolve without doing anything. The thing is, though, costs are still paid. And what's effectively happening there is sending that monster for the cost is the benefit.
Yep.
Because it will still trigger the Atlantean in the graveyard or whatever. And what really, I guess, has occurred then is it's exploitative. Like, when I activate Neptibus's effect, I'm getting the benefit no matter what. I'm getting at least some benefit no matter what. And Konami kind of knew that when the card was made. Like, you see a lot of examples of it. I feel bad because I'm kind of on the spot now, but like there's so many examples I see all the time where basically costs aren't costs. They're just
especially
benefits.
if they're sending something from deck to grave.
Yeah, anytime a cost is like send something from deck to grave, yeah, like it's
always a good thing.
It's only a good thing. I mean, then there's also stuff like missing the timing, which always felt like a very, just not a really good. We made a skit about this, actually.
We did.
We made a skit where it was just like, this doesn't negate the activation. It just negates the effect. This doesn't do this. It just does that. I didn't activate the speller trap. I placed it on the field. Like, just these little workarounds that they create. And I do agree that, like, they're charming. They add a lot of depth to Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, there's a lot of nuance where you can carefully tiptoe around an opponent's cards and, like, interactions that they might have with you by like doing this and that. But I think it still speaks to a game that is kicked the can down the road for so long that we've just amassed dirty laundry and we're just not cleaning the laundry. Instead, we're sort of just...
You just pile on it.
You just pile on it, and maybe when you're in a hurry, you take one of the dirty clothes out of the pile and just wear that today.
But the thing is, if in this like metaphor, right, you are piling the clothes on like over time. So it doesn't feel as bad versus someone who just walks up to the pile of clothes and is like, what is this mess?
Yeah, it's only daunting when you kind of see it out of context, I guess.
Yeah.
But when you're just the person living it, it just sort of feels like, what is that? There's a really good saying where it's like, how does, oh my God, I don't remember, something to the effect of basically like, how does a ship, end up breaking, or how does a company, go out of business? And the answer is one day at a time.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the exact quote, but like you get the gist. Is basically a bad thing can happen, but it can happen so slowly and steadily that you don't actually realize,
that's that bad.
that it's that bad until it just kind of all like breaks. Now, that isn't me saying that like Yu-Gi-Oh's rules are so convoluted that you can't play them or whatever, but I do think, yeah, okay, I've talked enough about it. What do you think?
I mean, I gave my opinion that like for their friends that are learning Yu-Gi-Oh, it's going to seem like a mess. It's hard to appreciate a game that has so much nonsense at play out the gate. But you could argue the reason why we, as longtime Yu-Gi-Oh players, can still love Yu-Gi-Oh is because we didn't have to see the large garbage pile. We just saw little pieces of like trash just kind of scattered about. And we can appreciate every little part of it. But when you're trying to learn Yu-Gi-Oh and you're trying to figure out how come this card can activate but this one can't, and this one can do this and this one can't do that. I can't target this but I can't target that. Why? Wait, my card didn't resolve. Why didn't it?
Yeah.
It can be a lot.
Yeah, it can. One last, I guess, thing I should add too is I do hate how the plain English translations of things in Yu-Gi-Oh sometimes just don't like. So, for instance, when like the age-old example is like Thunder King Ryo.
Oh Jesus!
And like Solemn Judge and stuff, where it says like if your opponent would special summon a monster, or like if a monster would do special summon, like this can negate it. Yep. But they can only negate summons that don't start chains, like Dark Arm Dragon, Cyber Dragon. And I'm saying this, and a bunch of you who already have played Yu-Gi-Oh for a bajillion years are like, duh, Paul, it's so obvious that's how it's worked forever. No, try to separate yourself from what you know as a Yu-Gi-Oh player and just listen to like read the card just in plain English. If a monster would be special summoned, this can negate it. Saravis, Solemn Judgment, all those cards. But they can't negate an effect that would special summon a monster.
Because to a layman, if I play polymerization, they should be able to negate the summon because I would special summon a monster.
Yeah, and it's that stuff always bothers me. Same with like the missing the timing if and when and all that stuff. If a card gets activated, you can do this. When a card gets activated, you can do this. That's so precise and like fussy.
It's like, how come sometimes when I normal summon my Ninja Grandmaster Hanzo, I can't get the effect. I'm still summoning it. It says when it's normal and special summon, it can get an effect, but because of this chain, even though I did the thing he's supposed to do, I can't resolve it.
Yeah, I think those are usually the points where Yu-Gi-Oh kind of begins to like
it frays
a little bit, where it's like, okay, this is stupid, but
or one of my personal favorites, cards being sent from like field to a graveyard.
Oh my god, like sent versus destroyed, and even the hand has one.
Yeah,
cards can be discarded versus sent from hand to grave, and I'm just like, where are we? You know what I mean?
I detached my Xyz material. I was like, wait, his effect doesn't activate, but I sent it from field to grave.
It was not on the field.
It was on the Xyz monster who was on the field.
And like, I know there are people pulling their hair out thinking like, well, duh, that's how it is. I'm not saying that I don't understand why these rulings work the way they do.
We know. We've been
I play. I know. I'm saying like, to the layman, I can see how this is just sort of like, what the fuck are they, like, what is this? Like, So, good question. If I had to answer it, because it sounds like you guys and your friends are sort of split, I would say that Paul's truthful opinion is, I think it's shit. I really do not, like, I think that this game could use a nice
deep cleaning.
A deep cleanse of some of this stuff. I know that we're not in a position to do that because there's 25 years of just
Paul's calling for a reboot.
Alex is just instigating. Yeah, we're 25 years deep, so what the fuck can really be done? But I don't like it. Anyway, next question.
Hi, Paul and Alec. Does Konami actually need to hit the current meta's archetypes to get people to play the new ones? Or would people naturally just start playing the new archetypes and move on from the previous ones? Sincerely, Masked Gamer 4. Or IV, depending if that was Roman numerals or not. All right. So, okay, this is interesting. Yu-Gi-Oh players in general, not talking about any one particular group, Yu-Gi-Oh players, for the most part, they have a few like characters and decks that they like and they love, and they will play those into the ground through hell or high water. They love these cards and love these characters so much, they'll never stop playing them. However, that's only like the average Yu-Gi-Oh player.
Right. So you think... Go ahead, sorry.
So, because like the truth is, on the more like active and competitive side of things, that could not be further away. Like people who actively play like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, they are trying to win. It's more important than playing their favorite cards. They're trying to win, and they're going to play whatever is the strongest current decks, or at least the strongest decks that match their play style. Nobody's going to sit there playing Thunder Dragons in every single like YCS of 2025 just because that was their favorite deck back in the day.
Yeah.
They're going to just shift to whatever deck they think gives them the competitive edge. And if Konami released an entire set of cards that are worse than what came before, they would just ignore it. Our tournament scene would immediately just stagnate because they wouldn't just use new cards because they're new. They would only use them if they actually helped make their deck stronger.
Yeah, I think you're pretty much right. Like, I think that the ban list, as much as people like to accuse it of being, this is just to push products and push sales, yeah, it kind of is. Like, and I don't think that is actually as objectionable as it might sound. Like, I'm always trying to like pick my words here. So there's an idea that like a company kind of trying to get you to buy new cards is bad, and like forcing your existing deck like out is rude. Yeah.
This is your Konami hat.
Yeah, oh, you think I'm necessarily defending Konami. That's right. I have nothing but good things to say about them. I think that it's kind of natural to want the game to progress, and you kind of just get a few options with how that can be done. You could have a rotation format where you're just forced, like literally forced out of it.
Ship has sailed.
But, that can't really be done at this point. We're too deep in. I think that it's kind of, the way that it is not so bad. Like, stuff tends to come off the ban list eventually. So even though like, your favorite deck maybe got banned now, like it'll be back eventually, and it's still probably playable, just not as strong. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem with like kind of with things just being moved along, like, because very much
for like very average and like casual Yu-Gi-Oh players, the ban list barely matters. Like we actually all probably know a Black Wings player who's been playing since 2010, and they're not going to stop playing Black Wings ever.
Yeah.
Because like the casual Yu-Gi-Oh player, they're more in love with their boss monsters and the deck itself than they are with, Yu-Gi-Oh itself. And for those people, like if they make new Black Wings, they'll play them. They don't care if they're better than what's in the meta. As long as I can play it in my deck, I'll play it. Like I have an Ancient Gear deck, and while I hate Ancient Gears, I love Ancient Gear Golem. So if they ever print a card that helps me like use Ancient Gear Golem better, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play it. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I do think, to add to your point about most casual players aren't as heavily affected by the ban list as competitive players. It's like, it can suck if perhaps you are a fan of a certain card that maybe gets banned, like, Barone getting banned sucks for, if you actually played that, that archetype. Things like that, or maybe when Emergency Teleport got banned, you just like general Psychic decks or something. But like, I don't know. I guess like, I don't even know exactly what point I'm trying to make here.
Well, I will say there is one. Konami hates volcanics and always has and always will.
It does suck that Bonfire got limited now.
If you're a volcanics fan, I don't know why you spit in Konami's eye that one time, because they hate you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like players will move on to whatever is strongest. So if they make new things that are strong, then they don't have to really do a ban list to power creep existing cards. But if they try to make new things and they're not strong enough, people will stick with the strong shit until they are kind of like forced to move from it.
So I think sometimes Konami, there's no fine science to power creep, and I think sometimes Konami designs an archetype that they're actually not ready to creep, where they kind of evaluate the archetype and they say, it's actually a little difficult right now to create something so much stronger than this. It'd be much easier to just go ahead and just snipe the biggest cards out the deck.
Yeah.
I think we saw that with like TR elements, we saw it with Cash Tira. It's not that they can't be power crept. It's just
maybe for the time being.
For the time, you maybe don't want to make it seem like TR elements are weak, because that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, so it's a good question. I guess to just give it the very direct answer, because I'm trying to always remember to like answer these questions.
Yes, that's the answer.
Yeah, so okay, does Konami actually need to hit the current meta's archetypes to get people to play the new ones, or would people naturally just start playing the new archetypes and move on? Yeah, I think that they kind of have to hit them.
I agree.
In general, my answer is yes. I think they have to hit them. Not always the case, but like generally that seems like that's the case. Cool. Well, that's pretty much this week's episode of the Pot of Greed. I am like blasted by sunlight forming a pattern on my face.
That's true. It is all over your face. I guess it's probably on mine too.
Yeah.
Though I don't really feel like I see
not as much so. Well, anyway, that's a great time to end it then. Hopefully.
We appreciate you guys.
Y'all have had a really great week.
All right. We'll catch you guys in the next one.
Pass turn.
turn.